back with comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. So I'm heading up to Sydney now for Christmas next week. Next Wednesday, I've got one more week in Victoria, and then I'm fucking out of here for at least 2 weeks. Spend a week in Sydney, then probably drive up to Port Macquarie, Coffs Harbour. Maybe even hit up Bathurst, do all the shit, go for a little fucking travel. The good thing is we know people in all those places, so they can look after our kids for us for a little while I go fucking hunting. Pig hunting or roo hunting. I don't care what it is as long as it dies. As long as I get to taste warm blood. So the vaccines are getting rolled out now. That sounds exciting. The UK, I think, they're vaccinating everyone over the next, week. Somehow they miraculously come up with 80 million fucking vaccines. And over the next 3 or 4 months, they're going to vaccinate the whole fucking world. 9 billion fucking vaccines over the next few months. Can someone tell me where they came from? Did I hear right? In the UK, they're giving it to all the old people first. That is such a good idea. I mean, who better to use as guinea pigs than people who are almost about to die anyway? If they start dying en masse, then they can just iron out whatever kinks are in this fucking vaccine for the younger people. You're not going to be able to travel without the vaccine, which fucking sucks. What I'm going to have to do is, if they do force you to take the vaccine to travel, I'm going to have to take the vaccine, go to South America, do some ayahuasca sessions, and get a good shaman to exorcise that devil from my body. My sister-in-law, the doctor, actually took the vaccine the other day, about 3 days ago. She didn't take that Pfizer one, she took some German one. They had been doing tests at her work, at the hospital, for about 8 months or something like that. It sounded bullshit, but yeah, 8 months. It's only been around 9 months, so did they start it straight away, did they? Anyway, after the testing got cleared, there was a few vials left of this vaccine, and they gave it to her department. So everyone in her department took the vaccine, and for the first day, she was fucking crook as fuck. She had the sweats, she was coughing, she was fucked, her bones were aching, cramps, everything. And then the next day she was fine. But she still has to wear full protective gear just in case she gets COVID-19. I don't know. I don't know how vaccines work. How do they work? I've never had a vaccine for anything, and I've never got sick. And that's not because I'm staying in safe Australia. I've been to all the shitty countries where you get everything and nothing's happened. I'm not saying you shouldn't get vaccinated. I'm saying I shouldn't. I don't need to. I'm immune. I have strong immunity to everything. I'm immune to everything. The only thing I need to be vaccinated from is self-sabotage. Is there any way I can take the vaccination against being your own worst enemy? Can I please have one vaccination for self-doubt? That's actually kind of funny. Don't be surprised if that ends up in my stand-up comedy. Actually, wasn't I sick last week? Didn't I do a whole episode about being sick? But that wasn't really sick. That was just my immune system starting back up again. Just a little fucking reminder that it's there. I did take the yellow fever vaccine years ago so I could go to South America on a coke bender. But I did ayahuasca during that trip, and I ended up throwing up some fucking crystals or something. And to my mind, that was either the yellow fever vaccine coming back out of my system or cancer. Also, I did get those hepatitis ones twice. The doctor highly recommended I take the hepatitis ones. I told him where I was going and what I was planning on doing, and he's like, yes, take the hepatitis vaccines. And the hepatitis vaccine is you take an initial shot and then you get 2 boosters. I got the initial shot and then I never went back for the 2 boosters. And then about 5 years later, a doctor's like, do you have the hepatitis shots? I'm like, well, I took the first one and then never got the 2 boosters. And he's like, listen, you've got to do the hepatitis one. I'm like, oh, fuck it. All right. And then I did it again. He gave me the initial shot and I never went back to get the 2 boosters. Anyway, that's enough about the fucking vaccine. I will be avoiding it until I need to travel. And even then, I'm still going to find a way around it. I'll just find some dodgy fucking doctor who will smash the vial in front of me and give me the fucking receipt. Doing that will probably lead to microchipping, actually. They'll be like, too many people are getting fake vaccinated. We need to make sure everyone is vaccinated from COVID-19. So we're just going to put a little tiny. You won't even know it's there, a little tiny microchip in your ball sack. And obviously, if you're female, your clitoris. Alright, that's enough of that. Completely, that's enough of the fucking vaccine for now. It is Boyle Breaks History today. That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for every single Wednesday now. Boyle Breaks History. It's where I choose a topic that's very close to my heart. I take a deep dive into the facts, figures, the history of it, and then I spew out a 2-minute fucking rant of random facts and figures with the word cunt strewn through the whole thing. And today I've chosen, obviously, a topic that is very close to my heart, the Reformation. Now, I'm going to say this early on. I am completely out of my depth on this one. I'm in over my head. I really didn't know what the fuck it was about. I thought it was just going to be about some king who was sick of his fucking annoying wife, wanted to bang some other chicks, wanted to get a divorce. I thought that's what the Reformation was, but that's not the Reformation. That was the English Reformation. I looked up the Reformation, which, look, here's the thing about history. Sometimes it's just fucking boring. Sometimes there's just nothing I can even do to help history along. Sometimes a part of history is so fucking boring, you wish it never even happened, despite all the dire consequences that would occur if it never happened. But do we let that stop us here at Boyle Breaks History? No. We push on. And it serves me right for knowing nothing about the Reformation. Surely I should have known something about it. But I knew nothing about it. So anyway, let's get started. It all happened in the Middle Ages, which, if you're a complete moron like I am, you would have to Google and you would find out the Middle Ages are the 5th century to the 15th century. Like, let's say we last another 7,000 years. Are they still going to be called the Middle Ages? Because it's really not the middle if we go to 70-30. You know what I mean? Have faith in humans, historians. Call it something fucking positive. Call it the very, 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 very start ages. Alright, so in the Middle Ages, the Roman Catholic Church was pretty much the fucking dominant power in all of Europe. They were more powerful than the fucking kings, queens, all that sort of shit. The Pope actually claimed authority over all the kings and queens of Europe. That's how fucking powerful he was, and the Catholic Church was, the Roman Catholic Church. The church fucking owned 1/3 of all the land in Europe. They were like the Amazon of the Middle Ages. They just fucking dominated. They also controlled just about every aspect of the culture as well. The church married everyone. They were the center of every fucking town. The education was done by the church. Church, fucking everywhere. And as you can imagine, when you've got that much power, you become corrupt as fuck. One of the church's biggest hustles was selling these things called indulgences. So at the time, the church was pushing real hard, saying everyone's a fucking sinner. You're all going to purgatory. You're all going to hell. You stink. You fucking make me sick. That's what the church was saying to everyone. So everyone thought they were going to hell. And at this point, no one knew what the fuck was going on because the only person who could read the Bible, because it was written in Latin, was a priest. So all the information they were getting out of the Bible was through the priest. So the priest was pretty much just saying whatever the fuck he wanted. So the church was selling these fucking things called indulgences. And what it was a certificate to say a loved one is exempted from their time in purgatory. You can release them if you give the church a large sum of money. So if you pay the church, they will give you a certificate to say your fucking Auntie Claire, who blew your uncle, is allowed out of hell without serving her punishment. It was a big fucking scam. It was pretty much the Middle Ages version of naming a star. You get a fucking certificate, that's about it. And it costs a lot of money. Anyway, the Roman Catholic Church at the time was fucking corrupt. They really cleaned themselves up after this, though. Besides the pedophilia and burning gays at the stakes, they really did clean themselves up. But a guy came along named Martin Luther, the hero of today's story. Now, Martin Luther, he has a really fucking shit story, and it came up everywhere about how he was studying for some law exam or some shit like that, and he was walking through a storm, and he thought he was going to get hit by lightning, and so he prayed to some fucking angel who then spoke to God, and he said, if you get me through this storm without getting struck by lightning, I'll become a clergyman. And it's like, fucking, that story would not make Fucked Up Friday. Get a good story, Martin Luther, you fucking dick. So Martin Luther became a fucking clergyman, and so he started reading the Bible in Latin, and what was in the Bible wasn't really matching up to what the fucking Roman Catholic Church was up to. He was like, what the fuck is going on here? And so he started attacking the Catholic Church and the Pope. He was like, all you cunts are fucked. He called the Pope the Antichrist. So one of the big things he did was he went to his local church and he had written 95 theses. And he nailed these theses to the wall. Now, by this stage, I was too bored to even look up what the fuck the theses were. But I assume it was shit like, don't finger bash chicks behind the shelter shed, don't bang your girlfriend on her rags when you're wearing white jeans, general shit like this, you know. I'm not too sure what the theses were about. There's a little bit of fucking homework for you. But even though I don't know what they were, the fucking church was not happy. So they call in Martin Luther to recant what he said in the 95 thesis. I get a feeling that the 95 thesis was pretty important, but they never said what it was, and I was not interested either. And so he got banished or some shit. The Pope went after him, and at the same time this was all happening, the printing press was invented. So Martin Luther's fucking thinkings and writings are getting spread all over town now. And so the Pope went after him, and Martin Luther went into hiding, and he took refuge in some castle with some fucking king or prince or whatever. And during this time, while he was in exile hiding in a castle, he decided to translate the Bible from Latin to German. And you got to remember at this stage, the only people who could read the Bible were priests. It was all in Latin and shit, and they were the ones dishing out the shit. So Martin Luther translated the Bible, and his idea was, when the people are able to see the Word of God for themselves, we can all unite. And that is not what happened. As soon as people started reading the Bible for themselves, they started making their own interpretations of it and started making their own fucking sects. So within like 1 hour of him releasing the Bible in German, there was like 50 fucking spin-offs. Like the Anglicans, the Puritans, Quakers, Presbyterians, Anabaptists, all these fucking guys. So the church got split into the Catholics and the Protestants, and the Protestants had like fucking heaps of different spin-offs as well. So while the churches are being reformed, these ideas spread amongst the peasantry, and they're like, well, if that's getting reformed, how about a little bit of social reform? So the fucking peasants combined together, and they're like, fuck you, we want some fucking equality now. And they started rioting and looting and fucking shit up. And they thought Martin Luther would be on their side. But he wasn't. He was like, no. I'm talking about religious reform. You are still scumbags. Stay scumbags. And Martin Luther took the side of the elites. And then the peasantry was fucking crushed. They just got real fucked up. And I'm pretty sure some other stuff happened, but is it important and do I care? No and no. And if anyone comes at me with some like information about what really happened, please know this. I do not care. And so with those profound words, we come to the end of another installment of Boyle Breaks History. And that is it for tonight. And I'll see you the fuck later.